mubyeyi urifuza guteganyiriza umwana wawe ejo heza, gana mu mashuri ya apejerwa ariyo Lycée de Ruhango-IKIREZI hamwe na Emeru Intwari. Muri Lycée de Ruhango-IKIREZI tubafitiye amashami akurikira: Culinary Art cyangwa se ibijyanye n'ubutetsi, hari level 1, level 3, level 4 ndetse na level 5. Food and Beverage Services tubafitiye level 3, level 4 ndetse na level 5. Tubafitiye kandi Accounting cyangwa se ibaruramari level 3, level 4 ndetse na level 5. Tubafitiye n'ubukanishi bw'amamodoka mu byiciro bikurikira: Auto Engine Technology level 3, Auto Transmission and Control System Technology level 4, Automobile Transmission and Control System Technology level 5. Tubafitiye n'ubwubatsi Masonry level ya 3, level ya 4 ndetse na level ya 5. Tubafitiye Tourism ubukerarugendo level ya 3, iya 4 ndetse n'iya 5. Turabibutsa ko tubafitiye n'icyiciro rusange Tonkome. Naho muri Emeru Intwari tubafitiye amashami y'umwaka umwe akurikira: Automotive Technology ubukanishi bw'amamodoka level ya mbere, Hairdressing ubwiza no gutunganya umusatsi level ya mbere, Tailoring ubudozi level ya mbere, Masonry ubwubatsi level ya mbere. Muri aya mashuri yombi tubafitiye abarimu b'inzobere harimo n'abaturuka hanze y'igihugu. Tubafitiye kandi n'amacumbi y'abakobwa ndetse n'ay'abahungu. Abanyeshuri bacu bakora ingendo shuri mu gihugu ndetse no hanze yacu. Tubaha umwanya wo kwimenyereza umwuga mu bigo bijyanye n'ibyo biga. Dukorera kandi graduation abanyeshuri basoje amasomo yabo. Aya mashuri aherereye mu mujyi wa Ruhango hafi ya gare. Ku bindi bisobanuro mwaduhamagara kuri 0788 cyangwa se 0722 mwanaduhamagara kandi kuri 0788 cyangwa se 0788 mwanadusura kuri website y'ishuri www.apejerwa.ac.rw. Umurimo ukozwe neza utuma batugirira icyizere.
I'm Emile Abayisenga, a trainer from Lycée de Ruhango Intwari TVET school. Today's session is about plastering. Most welcome to Lycée de Ruhango-IKIREZI Emeru Intwari. As I have told you, I'm a trainer from construction, as a sector of construction and the building service, as a subsector masonry in level 3. Today's session is about the module called wall plastering, with its competence and 8 credit. The competence which is called carry out wall plastering. Each trainee must be or shall be able to apply or to carry out wall plastering. As this picture shows, this is a worker that who is in the process of applying the plaster on the wall. The type of plaster here which is shown is stucco plaster. And we are on the running unit 3, which is called applying plaster coat. Applying plaster coat. This means to apply different coat. First coat, the second coat, and even the third coat, as we are going to see. Obviously, plastering is the process of covering a rough surface of the wall, column, ceiling, or other component of the building with a thin coat of plastic mortar to form a smooth or rough, durable surface. This means if you have a building, you will need to protect. The objective of applying plastering on the surface is to protect the surface from different atmospheric agencies like weather condition, and even to improve the appearance of that surface. We have several types of plasters that might be applied on the surface, mainly on the different type of walls. We have this type of plasters depends on the materials which is made from. The first one is cement plaster. This plaster, it is a paste made from cement and sand, which is called cement plaster. It is derived from the binder called cement. And we have also lime plaster. Also, it is a plaster made from the binder called lime. Cement lime plaster. This one also is a plaster made from the sand plus 2 binders, cement and lime. We have mud plaster. In villages, it might be a chance or a case of using mud mortar in rural villages. And we have the last one, which is called stucco plaster. Stucco is a construction material made from aggregate, sand, binder like Portland cement, water, lime with appropriate mix of additives including fibers and synthetic acrylics that add strength and flexibility. This stucco is a construction material which is prepared before being ready to be used as a plaster. This means is a combination of aggregate, which is graded to the size required, binder that will bind those particles of the sand, which is Portland cement or other type of binder. There will bind the water, lime, and also fibers. As dear trainees, as you have seen on the picture shown before, I showed you a worker which is in the process of applying the plaster on the surface. Where this stucco is applied before, the fibers are laid on the surface or it is mixed during the preparation of this stucco material. During this process of applying the plaster on the surface, we need tools, equipment, and materials so that to achieve this process of applying the plaster on the surface. Among those tools, equipment, and the materials, we have trowel as a tool, spirit level, brown bob, spade, shovels, wooden and steel float, sponge, bucket, floating rule, wheelbarrow as an equipment, brooms that will be used to clean or to wash on the surface before starting the process of applying the plaster on the background. Among those materials, we have cement as a binder. We have sand and even water that will make the chemical reaction in this mix. We have several materials and tools, but today's session is referring or is about using these tools. We have also the types of plaster finishes. As I have told you before, you may apply the plaster in 3 different coats, and even one it is possible. And after that, you will need to finish the surface by using how the outside, the final surface will be looks like, as this one called the plaster finishes. We have smooth cast finish, smooth, very smooth. We have sand-faced finish, some sand or button will seen on the surface. We have rough cast finish or spatter, dash finish. We have paper dash or dry dash finish. We have depeter dash, also it is a plaster finish. We have scraped finish. We have textured plaster. We have a Tyrolean finish rendering, which is being going to be explained before when we reach into practice. Tyrolean finish rendering. What exactly is Tyrolean? Dear trainee, what is exactly a Tyrolean? Tyrolean covered wall are textured in appearance, and Tyrolean is a cement-based textured exterior wall coating which is hand applied using a tool called a Tyrolean gun. Tyrolean gun. A Tyrolean gun isn't actually a gun. It is a special bucket with a spindle in the middle which looks rather like a hairbrush, as you see on these pictures that demonstrate the Tyrolean gun. Number of coats, as I have told you, are 3, and the table below demonstrate some number of coats. And here we have the process of applying a plaster on the surface. We have also the techniques that will be used to achieve the process of applying the plaster on the surface. When you are in the plastering process, you will need to start at the top. You will need to start at the top to below part of the background. Finally, you will need to float the surface so as to make it protective and even to improve the appearance of that surface. So, dear trainee, let's tell you that every master was once a beginner, and you also have to try. Please go everywhere possible and carry out plastering so that will protect your surface and improve its appearance. Thank you for your committed watching. So let's go to practice application on a plaster. Thank you. Dear trainee, as I have told you, we are in the moment of applying plaster on the surface as a practice starting now. Let's start by showing you the tools, equipment that are required during carrying out the plastering process. Here we have a trowel, we have a wooden float, we have a steel float, we have a floating rule or edge, we have a tape measure. As I have told you, this is a Tyrolean gun. We have a material called sand. You have cement. You have cement. A bag of cement. We have a crow hammer and a plumb bob. As am I looking like? The PPE or personal protective equipment just already equipped. Let's start our process of applying a plaster on the surface. Before, we have to prepare the background of the surface, which is this one. and even the material which is a plaster. As I have told you, we have different types of plaster, which is depending on the material it is made from. Here we have sand, and in plastering we have to mix the mortar or the plaster depending on the required or the provided ratio that might be used. We have here, we are going to use a ratio of 1:4 because this surface is exposed externally to the weather conditions. 1 time of 1 part of sand, 2 part of sand, we have 3 part of sand, you have to remove all the matters, the impurities from the sand, so that it will make the output clearly. 4 part of sand. As I have told you, the ratio is 1 part of cement or binder to 4 part of the sand. One part of cement. We need to mix our mortar. The mix must be mixed till the mixture becomes homogeneous with the same color. We need to mix our mortar, our materials, till the mix becomes homogeneous. You have to mix many rounds till the mixture becomes homogeneous with the same color. Also, we will need to add in enough amount of water so that our mortar will attain the workability. We have to add in amount of water, the enough amount of water, so as to produce the mortar with workability. It has added new water so as to make it workable. You see, dear trainees, our motor is ready to be used. It attains workability, as you see. So, as I have told you before, during the process of applying the plaster, we have different steps and you have different techniques so that to achieve well your work. We need before to prepare the background. As you see, it has cleanness, and if the background is full of details and waste, you have to remove it. Now we are lucky our background is clean. First of all, we need to set the working base, the working part. You start small, you achieve bigger. First of all, we need to provide the dots and the screed, so that will helps you to make a very clean plaster on the surface. We need to make the dots. That might have a 15 centimeter square. Let's fix what is called dots. These dots will help us to make the surface which is truly plumbed or which is leveled. After fixing dots, we need also to fix what is called screed. The screed will be filled between these dots so as it will help us to make our surface leveled by using floating rule, as I have shown you. we have to make our mortar workable so as to make the process easier. Or sometimes those dots may be made by using a piece of timber. As it is measured before, it fulfills the size of 15 centimeters side. By checking that our dots are leveled, you may use a spirit level. You will check that it is leveled. Yes, as you see, it is leveled. Or you have to use a plumb bob. The plumb bob. This plumb bob is fixed to the top or upper dot and screed the same time. Then you will need to measure the distance. The distance from the dot with screed, it must be the same to the lower one. So it means your wall, your plaster, it is truly plumbed. It is leveled vertically. You will need to fix the plumb bob, and you check the gap between the plumb bob and the upper dot, and the lower one must be the same, 2 centimeter. 2 centimeter. So after checking that it is well leveled, you will need to fill floor free between those dot and screed, dot and screed. Then you will need to use a floating rule to level your plastering. So as I have told you that the surface or the background may be covered with different type of plastering. We have seen the plaster finishes. Also we may cover our surface with a Tyrolean finish. As I have told you, this is a Tyrolean gun. You will need also to make a mortar which is little slippery. And except in Tyrolean finish, you will need to add an additive that will protect the rainwater or other water will be on the surface. A Tyrolean gun is used, as I have told you before, to cover the surface, the wall, with a finish called Tyrolean finish. As the process, it is seen. You will need to focus on the part and you approximate the same time. The same spending time. If it is 1 second, 1 second, 1 second, 1 second, till you cover the whole surface, so that your background, your surface will be looks aesthetic good appearance, and also it is protected against the weather effect or agencies. This is a very beautiful finish that is normally used in the villages, in cities, towns, and it is very easy to use this equipment called Tyrolean gun. So as I have told you, in preparing a motor, any water running from the mix, it means the cement escape away so that your motor remain very weak. And your plastering will brush out like nothing. It seems like doing nothing when the water escape from the motor. So you will need to 1 second. You have to estimate the time as the sequence of the same time. And also I have told you that this is a wooden float in a case you are going to make your plaster rough, a rough surface. And if you need to make your finish as smooth, you will need to use a steel float. Also, you need the amount of water and a sponge or a sponge. Our surface, it remains smooth. You have to make it as quick as possible so to achieve your work. As you see, it is easy. The surface becomes smooth by using a steel float. And if you are requested, as it is provided, to make the surface rough, you will need to use a wooden float, as this one. Also, some amount of water is required, or using a sponge. You see, the surface to remain rough. If someone touches on this surface, some particles of sand appear on the outer surface. So, dear trainees, you go everywhere around you. You make money. You have to apply you have to cover your own building, others, so as I have told you in the presentation before, every master was once a beginner. As we are in the process of applying or covering the surface by using a plaster, plastering is applied on the surface to cover it due to different objectives. As I have told you, to cover your background or surface against dampness. You will need to improve the appearance so that your surface will remain aesthetic. And also, you will need to protect your surface against the insect. For instance, I have told you that, like in the Tyrolean finish, we add in some additives. Those additives are chemical products. Those chemical products covered on the surface will protect the surface against insect. And even your surface, as an objective of covering it with plaster, like this surface, the waste will retain on these corners of bricks, and so as it is covered, no space remain with where the dust will adhere or will remain, will fix. So there is a several objectives of covering the surface with plaster, but most of them to protect the surface and to improve the appearance. So thank you. You have to achieve more. See you to the next session.
Mubyeyi urifuza guteganyiriza umwana wawe ejo heza, gana mu mashuri ya apejerwa ariyo Lycée de Ruhango-IKIREZI hamwe na Emeru Intwari. Muri Lycée de Ruhango-IKIREZI tubafitiye amashami akurikira: Culinary Art cyangwa se ibijyanye n'ubutetsi, hari level 1, level 3, level 4 ndetse na level 5. Food and Beverage Services tubafitiye level 3, level 4 ndetse na level 5. Tubafitiye kandi Accounting cyangwa se ibaruramari level 3, level 4 ndetse na level 5. Tubafitiye n'ubukanishi bw'amamodoka mu byiciro bikurikira: Auto Engine Technology level 3, Auto Transmission and Control System Technology level 4, Automobile Transmission and Control System Technology level 5. Tubafitiye n'ubwubatsi Masonry level ya 3, level ya 4 ndetse na level ya 5. Tubafitiye Tourism ubukerarugendo level ya 3, iya 4 ndetse n'iya 5. Turabibutsa ko tubafitiye n'icyiciro rusange Tonkome. Naho muri Emeru Intwari tubafitiye amashami y'umwaka umwe akurikira: Automotive Technology ubukanishi bw'amamodoka level ya mbere, Hairdressing ubwiza no gutunganya umusatsi level ya mbere, Tailoring ubudozi level ya mbere, Masonry ubwubatsi level ya mbere. Muri aya mashuri yombi tubafitiye abarimu b'inzobere harimo n'abaturuka hanze y'igihugu. Tubafitiye kandi n'amacumbi y'abakobwa ndetse n'ay'abahungu. Abanyeshuri bacu bakora ingendo shuri mu gihugu ndetse no hanze yacyo. Tubaha umwanya wo kwimenyereza umwuga mu bigo bijyanye n'ibyo biga. Dukorera kandi graduation abanyeshuri basoje amasomo yabo. Aya mashuri aherereye mu mujyi wa Ruhango hafi ya gare. Ku bindi bisobanuro mwaduhamagara kuri 0788366219 cyangwa se 0722356668. Mwanaduhamagara kandi kuri 0788366213 cyangwa se 0788202285. Mwanadusura kuri website y'ishuri www.apejerwa.ac.rw. Umurimo ukozwe neza utuma batugirira icyizere.